Okay, good. Thank you, Mother. All right. Okay. So we are doing now chapter 4, Charitamrita Adi Lila. Chapter 4, the confidential reasons for the Lord's appearance. Text 21. Sorry, 121. Everybody there? Okay.
I think we were on 180, 158.
Hold on.
Prabhuji, I think we completed 159.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Hold
We
on.
are on 159. 159. Yeah, 160.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. 159. That's correct. I'm sorry. 159. द्वितीय हेतुर कहिले विवरण द्वितीय हेतुर एबे सुनहु लक्षण. This is the description of his second desire. Now please listen as it describes third. So we discussed the first two desires of Lord Krishna, because of which he appeared as Lord Chaitanya. Does anybody remember by any chance what are the first two?
He wanted to understand.
Yes.
So he wanted to understand why Radharani loves him so much.
Okay.
Like, what does she see in him?
Okay.
Like, from her perspective, understand, why she experiences so much ecstasy.
Okay.
Other one is Prabhu, the Madhurya Bhav, like how she's experiencing, like I can't I experience myself.
Okay. All right. So the first reason is, what is the glory of her love? Why is it that she's able to control me when I control everybody else? Why is it so pure is still so crooked and duplicitous? And what is my sweetness that she tastes, because of which her own love for me, her own beauty increases so much when it's already infinite. So those are the two reasons. So let's do the third one now today. Text 160. अत्यंत निगूढ़ ए रसेर सिद्धांत स्वरूप गोसाई मात जाने ने एकांत. This conclusion of rasa is extremely deep. Only Swarup Damodar knows much about it. So remember who's Swarup Damodar?
Yeah, the personal associate, Prabhuji, of
Which
Chaitanya.
one? Which one?
Swarup Damodarji.
Sorry, Krishna Lila. In Krishna Lila, who's Swarup Damodar? Okay. Some people say Vishakha Sakhi, some people say Lalita Sakhi. So whichever one you want to take it. It's Lalita or Vishakha. So just by the way, this is the reason why I was mentioning last week that it would be very helpful if we take some time to revise or review whatever we do in the class, because that was very hard to remember. There's so much detail coming your way. Okay. 161. जेवा केहू अन्य जाने सेहो तहाँ हेते चैतन्य गोसाइन हेतु सॉरी तेहु अत्यंत मर्म जाते. Anyone else who claims to know it must have heard it from him, for he was the most intimate companion of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So not only he was very intimate companion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as Yogeshwar was saying, but he was Lalita or Vishakha Sakhi in Krishna Lila. So both ways he understood what's in the mind of Lord Chaitanya. Text 162. Gopi Ganere Premere Rude Bhav Nam Vishuddha Nirmala Prem Kabhu Na Hai Kam. The love of the gopis is called Rude Bhav. It is pure and spotless. It is not at any time lust. So once again, what was the difference between lust and love that we discussed before?
Prabhu, lust is for your own sense gratification, Prabhu.
Yes, and love is?
Love is pure, selfless and pure for the other person, Prabhu.
Okay, fair enough. And in the context we're talking about, when we try to satisfy the senses of Krishna,
Unconditional. Love is unconditional.
yes, mother, that's correct. Okay, purport. As already explained, the position of the gopis in their loving dealings with Krishna is transcendental. Their emotion is called Rudha Bhav, although it is apparently, excuse me, although it's apparently like mundane sex, one should not confuse it with mundane sexual love, for it is pure and unadulterated love of Godhead. So unadulterated means there's no personal desire. It's all about Krishna, it's all for Krishna. Okay, 163. Premaya Gop Ramanam Kam iti agamat pratham iti uddhavadaya vadayopit etam manchanti bhagavat priya. The pure love of the gopis has become celebrated by the name lust. The dear devotees of the Lord, headed by Shri Uddhava, desire to taste that love. So once again, we use the term lust, but what's being explained here is that it's not lust, it's actually love. Because the reason is that in Sanskrit, the word kam is used. And kam is generally speaking translated as lust. So Krishnadas Kaviraj is explaining it may be a wrong word being used, but we should know the real meaning, and that is love, prem.
Love.
Okay, 164. काम प्रेम दोहाकार विभिन्न लक्षण लौह और हेम जैसे स्वरूपे विलक्षण. Lust and love have different characteristics, just as iron and gold have different natures. So, what's the difference between iron and gold?
First of all,
Iron,
Sorry?
Iron rusts.
Iron rusts. Okay, good point. What else?
gold is precious,
Precious, yes.
then iron is not that much. And the other thing is gold could be malleable. It has a malleable property. So basically you can form different forms, but iron on the other hand, it's brittle. So that way,
Well, I have
gold
seen many
has-
iron in many shapes.
right. And then gold you can form into different shapes.
Okay, all right. Okay. Purport. One should try to discriminate between sexual love and pure love, for they belong to different categories, with a gulf of difference between them. They're different from one another as iron is from gold. Now, 165 is a very key verse. We should actually try to memorize this one. We just talked about it, but now it's in the Bengali. Atmendriya Priti Vansha Tare Boli Kaam Krishnendriya Priti Vansha Dhare Prem Naam. The desire to gratify one's own senses is calm or lust. But the desire to please the senses of Lord Krishna is prema or love. That's what we were just talking about. Okay, let's read the purport. Who wants to read the purport?
I can read from them.
Please go ahead.
The revealed scriptures describe pure love as follows. Sarvatha dvamasa rahitam sati api dvamasa karane yad bhava bandhanam yuno saprema parikirtita. If there is ample reason for the dissolution of a conjugal relationship, and yet such a dissolution does not take place, such a relationship of intimate love is called pure.
Very
The
nice.
pre-
So look at it. What is saying here? You see, even if there's a reason to leave each other, and you don't, that means it's pure love. Nowadays, in the modern time, divorces happen for the stupidest of reasons. I heard about a case where there was a divorce going on, and the judge asked the husband, why do you want to divorce your wife? And he said, I keep telling her to put the cap back on the toothpaste tube. And she forgets it every day. I can't take it anymore. And then he asked her, why do you want to divorce your husband? And she said, every time he eats omelette, he has a string hanging from his mouth and slurps it in. It drives me crazy. I keep telling him not to do it, he won't listen. So therefore, I won't divorce him. That's the reason. Like how superfluous, how stupid does it have to get? But that's the way. So clearly that's not love. And that's the point being made. Even with this big fight, you still stay together, then there's love. Okay. Next paragraph, please, somebody.
I can read, Prabhu.
Please go ahead, Mataji.
The predominated gopis were bound to Krishna in such pure love. For them, there was no question of sexual love based on sense gratification. Their only engagement in life was to see Krishna happy in all respects, regardless of their own personal interests. They dedicated their souls only for the satisfaction of the personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. There was not a slightest tinge of sexual love between the gopis and Krishna. Hare Krishna.
So give me some example of where gopis made tremendous sacrifice just to be with Krishna.
To attend the Ras Lila.
Okay, so what sacrifice did they make?
They had to leave, at the middle of the night, leave their husband, their children, their family, and come at that time. And sometimes even the society would question them, but they would still not care about their own everything, and they would just leave and come home.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely right. So, and not just last later, many other times, same thing. They will come running. As a matter of fact, every night, some gopis will come, and be with him. Krishna used to go to bed. Mother Yashoda will put him to bed. And then when everybody was asleep, he'll sneak out the window. He'll literally jump out of his bedroom window and go to the forest to be with the gopis. So all night he would be with the gopis. All day he'll be with the cows and the gopas. Never slept. But so the one point was what gopis did. When did Krishna insult them, basically reject them? Sorry?
No, nothing, Prabhuji.
Okay. So when did Krishna reject them? And despite that rejection, they said, no, I'm coming for you.
Gopi Geet, right?
Yes. Tell me a little bit more.
So he leaves them and they start blaming themselves. And
Okay.
they think he has left them because they have done, they have gotten, too kind of proud of themselves that Krishna is
Okay.
spending time with us. So they never look to blame him. They always blame themselves.
Okay. All right. Anything else? What did Krishna do when they came in the beginning of Ras Leela? When they all showed up, what did Krishna say to them?
He said, go back.
Go back. Right? So basically, didn't want to have, or pretending not to have anything to do with them. What else would he do to the gopis? And they would still, or to Radharani for that matter. And he would still, or they would still be wanting to be with him.
Prabhuji, can I Hare Krishna?
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, when Krishna left from Vrindavan to Mathura, he promised that he will come back and don't come back, like don't follow me to Mathura. And gopis waited there for their entire life for Krishna. They never step out from Vrindavan, even the Mathura was only half an hour. Still, they never stepped out because they said that Krishna made the promise and he will fulfill the promise. They waited for their whole life.
Yes. Okay, good. Good. What else? Any other examples? Anything with Radharani, for example? He would make her jealous by going to Chandravali. Imagine Radharani is giving up everything for him and he's going to another woman. And still Radharani said, I only love you, I don't know anybody else. right? And in that regard, what did Lord Chaitanya say in Shikshashtakam? What did Lord Chaitanya say?
He said, you can do whatever you want to do to me. You can
Yes.
accept me or reject me.
Right, exactly. Ashiva padatam punashtumam, right? So that's exactly the sentiment that's being expressed here. That when this pure love which gopis had, it doesn't matter what Krishna does. They keep loving him. Okay, let's read the next paragraph. Somebody?
I will read, Prabhuji.
Please go ahead, Radhavana Prabhu.
Yeah, the author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita asserts with authority that sexual love is matter of personal sense enjoyment. All the regulative principles in the Vedas pertaining to desires for popularity, fatherhood, wealth, and so on are different phases of sense gratification. Acts of sense gratification may be performed under the cover of public welfare, nationalism, religion, altruism, ethical code, biblical codes, health directives, creative action, bashfulness, tolerance, personal comfort, liberation from material bondage, progress, family affection, or fear of social ostracism, or legal punishment. But all these categories are different subdivisions of one substance, sense gratification. All such good acts are performed basically for one's own sense gratification, for no one can sacrifice his personal interests while discharging these much advertised moral and religious principles. But above all, this is the transcendental stage in which one feels himself to be only an external servitor of Krishna, the absolute personality Godhead. All acts performed in this sense of servitude are called pure love of God because they are performed for the absolute sense gratification of Krishna, Sri Krishna. However, any act performed for the purpose of enjoying its fruits or results is an act of sense gratification. Such actions are visible sometimes in gross and sometimes in subtle forms. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So once again, the distinction between calm and prem is being described here. And a lot of times people say, no, I'm not doing it for me, and I'm serving my country. But the underlying desire is, or people will say, oh, what a patriot he is, how much, look what he's doing for the country. So they still want their name, their fame. And so many other examples have been given that all done under the guise of something else, but underlying desire is self gratification, own self gratification. And therefore, they all come in the category of kama, which is lust. On the other hand, the gopis and pure love is all about Krishna, satisfying him, regardless of what. And that's what we were just discussing a minute ago. And so therefore, that comes under the category of pure love. Okay. 166. कामेर तात्पर्य निज संभोग केवल कृष्ण सुख तात्पर्य मात्र प्रेम तो प्रबल. The object of lust is only the enjoyment of one's own senses. But love caters to the enjoyment of Lord Krishna. And thus it is very powerful. So once again, the same thing. We're doing it for me, is calm. We're doing it for Krishna, is prem. But prem is much more powerful than calm.
Yep.
Okay, let's do 167 to 69. Lok dharma, Ved dharma, Deh dharma, karma. Lajja, dhairya, Deh sukh, Atma sukh, marma. दुस्त्यज आर्यपथ निज परिजन स्वजने करे जत ताड़न भत्सन सर्व त्याग करी करे कृष्णेर भजन कृष्ण सुख हेतु करे प्रेम सेवन. Okay, translation. Social customs, scriptural injunctions, bodily demands, fruitive actions, shyness, patience, bodily pleasures, self-gratification, and the path of Varnashram Dharma, which is difficult to give up. The gopis have forsaken all these, as well as their own relatives and their punishment and scolding. For the sake of serving Lord Krishna, They render loving service to him for the sake of his enjoyment. So once again, everything is about this. Does this remind you of any verse from Gita that Krishna speaks? Going to 18th chapter? Going to
Dharma
huh?
Sarva dharman
Yeah.
parishyajya.
Yeah, exactly. He said, give up everything. You know, the gopis are not coming to Krishna because the scriptures say so. There are some examples of some gopis were being stopped by their husbands, so they gave up their life. In a subtle body, they participated in Ras Lila. That's how much they wanted to be with him. Okay? They were getting yelled at and everything else. But they didn't care. I want to be with Krishna no matter what. अब चाहे मार उठे या बाबा मैंने तो हाँ कर दी. Right? I'm going to be with Krishna no matter what. Right? 170. इहा के कहिए कृष्ण दृढ़ अनुराग स्वच्छ धौत वस्त्र जैसे नाहि कौन दाग. That is called firm attachment to Lord Krishna. It is spotlessly pure, like a clean cloth that has no stain. Now, if you have a white dhoti or white piece of cloth, and one small drop of ink comes down on it, it becomes so visible. So visible. But the gopis' love is spotless. There is no blemish. Okay, let's read the purport and understand this better.
I can read, Prabhu.
Please go ahead, Prabhu. Gopal Prabhu.
The author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita advises everyone to give up all engagements of sense gratification and, like the gopis, dovetail oneself entirely with the will of the Supreme Lord. That is the ultimate instruction of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. We should be prepared to do anything and everything to please the Lord, even at the risk of violating the Vedic principles or ethical laws. That is the standard of love of Godhead. Such activities and pure love of Godhead are as spotless as white linen that has been completely washed. Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakura warns us in this connection that we should not mistakenly think that the idea of giving up everything implies the renunciation of duties necessary in relation to the body and mind. Even such duties are not sense gratification if they are undertaken in a spirit of service to Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. So this is a very important point here. 2 points actually. One is definition of surrender, Atmanivedan. So it essentially is saying dovetailing everything about you with the desires of Krishna. Everybody understands the word dovetail? What does dovetail mean?
Just like follow behind that, whatever we are dovetailing. Just, how to say, just follow that path.
Okay. Okay, it's a little bit more than that. A little bit stronger than that. You're right.
You have to anchor it.
And what do you mean, Mataji?
Like attach, anchor.
Yes. Yes. So maybe you have seen some mats that some temples have. They are, 2 feet by 2 feet, but you can attach one to the other and become a large carpet.
Yeah.
So the parts that are connect together, that's called dovetailing.
Okay.
So the parts are attaching. And then, of course, as you said, it's like doves following each other. So either way, the point is that whatever is in the heart of Krishna, that's what you're doing. And if that means giving up everything, if that means changing your course, so be it. I just want to please Krishna. That's the topmost desire in our mind. Okay, and that's what gopis are doing. And they're prepared to do anything and everything to please him. So that means giving up the relationships. If that means getting a bad name of being an unchaste woman, it doesn't matter. I just want to make Krishna happy. Nothing else matters. And it says, That is the standard of love of God. And that is what pure love means. No blemishes. But second point is being made is Bhaktivinoda Thakur is warning us. That doesn't mean we stop doing everything. If we are Grihastha ashram, then we have Grihastha duties. And we can't stop those in the name of pleasing Krishna. For example, Krishna told Arjun that you can't run to the forest. You can't give up your responsibilities. The responsibility that you have right now is to fight. You will fight. Right? And also do stuff, but do it for Krishna. So sometimes people ask me, how do you give 100% to Krishna if you have a family, you have mortgage payments and children and everything? How do you do that? Well, it's very simple. Turn everything and make it about Krishna. So for example, you have a big house, make a temple in your house. Then it becomes Lord Krishna's house, which means it's a temple. So any mortgage payments you make, any cleaning you do, any cooking you do, you're doing it all for Krishna. So now it's a matter of attitude. You can do it all for you, you can do it all for Krishna. Effect is still the same in terms of mundane way. House still gets cleaned, food stuff still gets cooked, but now it's all about Krishna. You pay your children's bills, send them to school, you made them devotee, then you're doing devotee service. That's about Krishna. So this way you can change everything that you're doing about for Krishna without giving up any of your responsibilities, without running away from any of your responsibilities. So there's a slight change in attitude, slight change in mindset, slight change in understanding, changes everything. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, don't run away, but do it for Krishna. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu also, there are two terms used by Rupa Goswami. One is called Yukta Vairagya, one is called Phalgu Vairagya. Does anybody know what Yukta Vairagya means? Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, Yukta Vairagya is like whatever is there, using everything for Krishna's service. Prabhu.
Yes, absolutely. And Phalgu Vairagya?
Basically, it's a show off. You show off.
Sorry,
but still, it's a show off.
What does that mean?
So basically, outside you show, oh, I don't want these things, but inside deep, you want all, you're craving for those things.
Okay.
I think Yukta means
And-
continuous, spontaneous one and continuous engagement and with knowledge, with full knowledge in Krishna. Yeah, and Phalgu means sometimes there and but sometimes not there.
What do you mean sometimes there, sometimes not there?
Sometimes you're more into bhakti and sometimes you're carried away with something else.
Okay, so let's look at, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, Prabhuji, I was just saying it's a temporary vairagya. Like when somebody goes to funeral, they would feel that there's nothing in this world. But as soon as he comes out, he again involves in the material.
Well, actually, that's, I think that's different.
Okay.
So let's look at the definition. It says in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Prapanchiktaya buddhya harisambandhi vastuna mukshibhi parityago algum vairagyam kathate. It's saying that when we artificially reject everything as sense gratification, rather than use it in the service of Krishna, that's Phalgu Vairag. So Vairag doesn't mean rejecting everything. I'll give another example. One time in the temple, this many years ago, we offered the flower to the Lord, and we take the same flower and let everybody smell it. That is before COVID anyway, we did that. And so I took it to one girl, a young 18-year-old girl, and she said, no, I don't want it. I said, why? She said, that's just gratification. That is Phalgu Vairagya, because that flower is representing the mercy of the Lord. By smelling it, you are accepting the mercy of the Lord. By rejecting and refusing to smell it, you are rejecting the mercy of the Lord. And therefore, that's Phalgu Vairagya. Similarly saying, oh, I'm not going to eat anything. That's Phalgu Vairagya. Eat prasadam. Offer to the Lord and eat prasadam. Okay. On the other hand, Yukta Vairagya is saying, use everything in the service of Krishna. That's simple. So I give the example of the house, example of the, paying children's bills, cooking food, buying food, all those kind of things. That's Yukti Vairagya if it's being used by for the service of Krishna. Okay. Rupa Mata, you still have your hand up. Did you have something more to say? I forgot. Rupa Raju Mataji, do you have another question or comment? Okay, maybe not. Okay.
So Prabhu, for my understanding, it's Phal Vairagya means you are abandoning yourself from Krishna's mercy, basically on purpose.
Say again, say again.
So like Phal Vairagya is like you're abandoning yourself from Krishna's mercy, which is given to you.
Yeah, you reject, the word is rejecting it. Yes, correct.
Rejecting it, yeah.
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
And that could be without, the reason could be knowledge, no knowledge about it, or what?
Yeah, this obviously
Ego
some
or
ignorance. Yeah, obviously some ignorance that's making you do that. So it's the
Oh.
wrong kind of vairagya or renunciation. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, don't do that.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu.
Sure. Any other question or comment from anyone? Okay. 171. अतएव काम प्रेमे बहुत अंतर, काम अंत तमः प्रेम निर्मल भास्कर. Therefore, lust and love are quite different. Remember, it started by saying same difference of iron and gold. So it's being said in a different way. Therefore, lust and love are quite different. Lust is like dense darkness, but love is like the bright sun. So let's understand that. Why is lust like a dense darkness? And why is love like bright sun?
Oh, if there's lust, there's no Krishna. Krishna is not present, and wherever there's love, Krishna is there, and Krishna's present is what gives light.
Okay, fair, fair. Anybody else?
Lust is mode of ignorance, and love is mode of goodness, or even beyond goodness.
Sure, absolutely right. Yes. Anybody else?
Prabhu, when there's lust, it's darkness. So darkness, one can't see anything. So when there's love, it's, when it's sun. So sun is bright, we can see. So it's just like.
Yes, you're right. But let's go a little bit further. So what happens in darkness and what happens in sunshine?
In darkness, we don't see the things as they should be.
Right, as they are.
They are.
You cannot see the end of the tunnel, actually.
Okay. So in darkness, you don't see things as they are.
Yes.
So how does that apply here?
Because if it is lust, we cannot see the things like it is for ourselves only.
Okay.
Lust,
I'm seeing
lust is
me.
for ourselves only. We cannot see the other side.
Okay,
Like,
but I'm happy seeing me. Then why is it dark?
no, that is not the lust.
Sorry, I'm happy seeing me. I'm happy seeing my sense gratification. So I'm seeing it. It's not that I'm not seeing anything. So what is it I'm not seeing?
Seeing,
It's not clear.
it's
You
not
might
clear.
think
It's not realized.
What do you mean?
Prabhu, does the banyan tree example apply here? Like with the lust, we focus on the image and not the real banyan tree. Well, we are focusing on the reflection.
Okay. Now you're all saying the right things, but I just want to make sure you get to the root of the point.
So one point could be like we're not able to understand Lord Krishna clearly, like in a way his pastimes with the gopis, not with the proper understanding.
Okay.
Because in darkness, when darkness is there, clarity is not there. But when sunshine is there, we understand the bhava. It is the love. It's not the lust. So that will help us
True,
for
but
better
I'm talking
understanding.
about our mode of ignorance when in lust. Why is it being called? It's our mode of ignorance when we are in lust.
like it's saying, it's darkness. We can't actually even see ourselves properly in the dark.
Okay, so what does that mean? We cannot see ourselves properly in the dark. What does that
We
mean?
can't. What that means is, in a spiritual sense, we don't know what our position is.
What do you mean?
And we don't. What our actual position is, that we're servants of the Lord, and that's the only thing that can make us happy. You know,
Now
we're
you're
seeing
getting
these
it.
things
Yes.
that can make us happy, but
Yes.
they are not going to make us
Yes.
happy.
Thank you. So basically, in the dark or the mode of ignorance, we are not able to see what's good for us.
Correct.
But that's what is our real self-interest. We're not able to see. Our real self-interest is in being the servant of Krishna. And that's why we're not able to see in mode of darkness, mode of ignorance, which compared with darkness, where you're not seeing things as they are. We're not seeing the spirit, soul, eternal servant. We're seeing this body. And therefore, bodily sense gratification. Okay. All right. Let's do 173. This is from Gopi Geet. Anybody wants to sing it? Yatte sujata charnamb ruham staneshu bhita shanai priyadadhi mahi karkasheshu tenatavim atasi tad vyatate nakim swet kurpadi bhir bhramati thir bhavad ayusham naha. Translation. What
Sorry,
do
Babu,
you,
I think you skipped one.
oh, did I? I'm sorry.
You
Yeah,
skipped
172.
172.
I got excited. Oh, yeah, yeah, an important one too. 172. अतएव गोपी गणेर नाहि काम गंध कृष्ण सुख लागी मात कृष्ण से संबंध. Thus, there is not the slightest state of lust in the gopis' love. Their relationship with Krishna is only for the sake of his enjoyment. And that is what makes it pure. That's what makes it in light as opposed to darkness. They are doing it only for Krishna because they understand their interest lies in the pleasure of Krishna. And in mode of ignorance, we forget that. We think our interest lies in our pleasure. Okay. Okay. I'm sure you don't want me to sing 173 again, so let's go to the translation. Oh, dearly beloved, this was translation for 173. Your lotus feet are so soft that we place them gently on our breasts, fearing that your feet will be hurt. Our life rests only in you. Our minds, therefore, are filled with anxiety that your tender feet might be wounded by pebbles as you roam about on the forest path. Now, if this is not love, I don't know what it is, because they're so concerned about him. They're so concerned about him that, we realize by Lord Krishna how soft your lotus feet are, how soft your body is. It is said that if a flower petal fell on the arm of Lord Krishna, it will leave an imprint. Think about this, how soft it will have to be. A flower petal is so light. Many of us won't even feel that it fell on our body. But that flower petal leaves an imprint on Krishna's body. So gopis are very aware of that. And they're saying, we are very careful when we put your feet on our breasts, which is soft spot. So therefore we worry you walking bare feet in the forest, which is full of pebbles, full of sharp stones, full of dry grass, full of twigs and all those kind of things, thorns. They might prick your lotus feet. And we worry about it all the time. Like, who would worry about something like that if the love is not there? There's lots of people walking around bare feet. How many of them do we worry about? We don't.
No one.
Right? We don't even know them.
Yep.
We don't love them. We don't care what happens to them. Right? But gopis do because they love him so much. Otherwise, they could say, well, we are home, we're comfortable in our home, we're wearing sandals, we don't have to worry about, so why? But no, they're worried about him. Okay. Further elaboration, 174. Atma sukh dukhe gopir nahik vichar, Krishna sukh hetu chesta mano vyavahar. How beautiful is that? The gopis do not care for their own pleasure or pains. All their physical and mental activities are directed toward offering enjoyment to Lord Krishna. If I have to suffer, I suffer, I don't care. When Krishna played his flute to call the gopis to the Ras Leela, some of them were cooking chapati on the stove. Some of them were cooking rice or dal on the stove. They left it. They didn't burn. Who cares? Some were breastfeeding their children. They threw them on the ground and ran. Some massaging the lotus feet, not lotus feet, but feet of their mother-in-law. And just ran. Some were with their husband. They just ran. It doesn't matter. Anybody else doesn't matter. It's an important discussion. Okay? So everything they do is directed towards making Krishna happy. Even when Radharani got angry with Krishna, it was only for the purpose of making Krishna happy, because she knew when she gets angry, Krishna comes to appease her, and that pleases him more, therefore he shall do it. She acted jealous of Chandravari because it pleased Krishna. And it's a very high level thought process. We can't even think like that. But that's what she's doing. Okay? Krishna, this goes on. Krishna lagi aar sab kare parityag. Krishna sukha hetu kare shuddha anurag. They removed everything, they renounced everything for Krishna. Give up everything. Everything. They gave up their family relationships. And actually Krishna acknowledged later on, it's very difficult to give up family links or chains that bind you to the family. Very difficult to give up, your relationship with your parents, with your husbands, etc. You gave it all up. Your reputation, you gave it all up for me. And Krishna says, finally, he says, therefore, I don't want to say that before it's coming next. So they give everything. They have pure attachment to giving Krishna pleasure. Pure means there's no anabhlasha shunyam. There's no personal desire associated here. No personal desire for self gratification. Everything is about making Krishna happy. Right? So now, next text give you the reaction of this behavior of gopis of Krishna. Again, this at the end of the Gopi Geet. Now Krishna is talking. He's heard the Gopi Geet, the 19 verses. He's appeared in front of them. They've chastised him. And now sitting, hands folded on his knees, tears in his eyes. And this is what he sings. Evam mad arthojita lok veda swanam hi vo mai anuvratte bala maya proksham bhajata tirohitam masuyitum marhat tat priyam priya. O my beloved gopis, you have renounced social customs, scriptural injunctions, and your relatives for my sake. I disappeared behind you only to increase your concentration upon me. Since I disappeared for your benefit, you should not be displeased with me. This is acknowledging everything they have done. Acknowledging everything they have done. It's calling them beloved gopis. You've renounced social customs, which is like be with your husband, be chaste, don't look at another man, all those kind of things. Or don't come out of your house after the sunset. All those are social customs at that time. You've given them all up. It's scriptural injunctions, be chaste. Don't even look at another man. And that's why in those days, the veil used to be there. So no man will see them and they will not see any man. Lord Lakshmana was so careful about that when Sugriva showed the ornaments that Mother Sita had thrown out as she was being kidnapped by Ravan. And he said, can you recognize these ornaments? And Lord Lakshmana said, I can only recognize the one she wore on her lotus feet. They had never looked above her ankles. 14 years, just the three of them were there. It never looked above her ankles. That is scriptural injunction. So they gave that up. Your relatives for my sake, okay, You might, maybe my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, my sister-in-law, who cares? Radharani, Jatila, and Kutila. Right? Gave them all up. Now Krishna is saying, but don't think I disappeared to torture you. I disappeared to increase the volume and the quality and the viscosity of your love for me. So your love would be greater because of this disappearance. Since I disappeared for your benefit, you should not be so now he's praying to the gopis. Look, I did this for you. I did that to make you happy, so don't be displeased with me. Imagine Supreme Personality of Godhead saying to somebody, oh, please don't be angry with me. But that is the result of the quality of love of the gopis. That's how pure it is. Krishna becomes totally under the control of that love. So the Supreme Controller, the Supreme Chastiser, is begging not to be displeased with him. That's huge. But that's a reflection of the quality of the love that the gopis had in their heart for Krishna.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, 177. कृष्णेर प्रतिज्ञा एक आछे पूर्व हैते जे जैसे भजे कृष्ण तारे भजे तैछे. Lord Krishna has promised from before to reciprocate with his devotees according to the way they worship him. So where did he promise that? That's the next verse. Chapter 4, text 11. From Bhagavad Gita.
Bhagavad Gita.
Je jatha mam prapadyante tam statha bhajamyaham mam vartamanu vartante manushya parth sarvashaha. In whatever way my devotee surrenders to me, my devotees surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. So purport, who wants to read the purport?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Please go ahead.
Krishna was never grateful to the gopis.
No, ungrateful.
Oh, sorry. My mistake. Krishna was never ungrateful to the gopis, for as he declares to Arjun in this verse from the Bhagavad Gita 4:11, he reciprocates with his devotees in proportion to the transcendental loving service they render unto him. Everyone follows the path that leads towards him, but there are different degrees of progress on that path. And the Lord is realized in proportion to one's advancement. The path is one, but the progress in approaching the ultimate goal is different. And therefore, the proportion of realization of this goal, namely the absolute personality of Godhead, is also different. The gopis attained the highest goal. The Lord Chaitanya affirms that there is no method of worshipping God higher than that followed by the gopis.
Yeah. So this is an explanation of this chapter 4, text 11 here. That everyone is following the path that leads towards Krishna. But when you say everyone, what about the karmis? What about the atheists? What about the impersonalists? What are they doing?
Krishna says in the Gita, Bhokta Ram Yagya Tapsam. You know, so it doesn't matter what yagya you do, with what intent you do it, but anything you do ultimately comes to him. He's the only enjoyer of everything. So the pasvis, the ascetics, the karmis, they might have goals and they might be doing things for that goal, but ultimately everything goes back to Krishna.
So how does karmi go back to Krishna?
No, karmi does not go back to Krishna.
So that's what I said. Karmi, atheists, impersonalists, how do they? What are they doing?
They don't.
They don't. So that's
They're
zero.
just, they don't.
That's zero, right? So that's zero progress towards Krishna for these people.
Yeah.
And then it depends upon the purity of your service to Krishna, your sincerity, etc. And so that proportion. So for example, you have Sakam Bhaktas. They're worshipping Krishna too, but doing it for their pleasure, therefore there's very little progress towards Krishna. There's some, not very much, right? So he's saying it's in that proportion. But when the love is pure, like the gopis, it's 100%, right? So that's why the gopis attain the highest goal, highest goal, which is Krishna himself. And the second point is that Krishna appears one of the external reasons. These days we talk about the internal reasons. But one of the external reasons for Krishna's appearance is that he wanted to come and relish the love of the gopis, love of the pure devotees, which is the Braj Bhav. And that Braj Bhav is Lord Chaitanya manifesting for our benefit. But one of the main reasons for Krishna's appearance is that he wanted to relish the love of the pure devotees, specifically gopis. Okay. All right. So 179. Se pratigya bhanga hoile gopir bhajane tahate praman Krishna shimukh vachane. That promise that I'll give you in proportion to what you give me has been broken by the worship of the gopis, as Lord Krishna himself admits. So let's understand that point in the next verse. Again, it's from Bhagavatam, a very, very famous verse, a verse that we should all try to memorize. Na para hai hum nirvadya sanyujam susadhu krityam yudhayani ya vaha ya mahajan durjay ge shankala samvrashcha tadvam pratiyatu sadhuna. O gopis, I'm not able to repay my debt for his spotless service. So just now Krishna said, I'll repay you accordingly. To the gopis is saying, but I can't repay you for his spotless service. Even if I had the lifetime of a Brahma. How long does Brahma live?
100 years.
No, that's his 100 years. Earth
Yeah.
years. How many earth years does Brahma live?
4. Every time we forget all this.
Okay. 311 trillion years.
11 trillion.
311 trillion years.
311 years.
No,
Okay.
311 trillion years.
3.11 trillion years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 311 trillion years he lives. And that's a long time. So saying, even if I live that long, I cannot repay you back. Your connection with me is beyond reproach. What does the word reproach mean? Huh?
Offend?
Sorry, say again?
Offend?
Offensive?
Offend?
Offend? I just want to understand what the word you're using.
Oh, so, sorry, it was something else.
Okay.
Your connection with me.
Complaints, Prabhu, reproach means complaints. With
Sorry?
no complaints. With
With
no
no-
complaints.
Okay.
So beyond my reach, probably like
Yeah,
within my
beyond
limits.
So basically it means they cannot be disapproved, or I cannot be disappointed with this. So this basically is the right thing. This, you can't find fault in it. You cannot be disappointed with it. You cannot disapprove it because it's so good. Okay? He's just giving the reason. It's beyond reproach. You have worshipped me, cutting off all domestic ties, which are difficult to break. So with the husband, with the children, with the in-laws, with your mother, father, etc., which are very difficult to break, but you've broken them all for me. How do I do that? I don't even know how to do that. I'm not breaking my family ties. Right? I'm not letting my reputation go bad. Right? So therefore it says, please let your own glorious deeds be your compensation. I can't give you anything that's commensurate with what you're doing for me. Therefore, I can simply apologize and say, let your own devotion, your own glorious devotion, your glorious deed be your compensation, be your reward. I don't have anything to give you. And that's why he's breaking his own promise of 4:11. Does everybody understand that point? Why Krishna is saying that? Why is Krishna saying that? So if you're serving Krishna with some kind of a desire, and Krishna gives it to you, then it's okay, we're equal now. You wanted something, I gave it to you. Transaction is complete. But if I'm serving Krishna, I don't want anything, then what Krishna does?
They are in Krishna's abode, Prabhu, always.
Sorry, Prabhuji?
They are in Krishna's abode always.
No,
because
that's true. But what does Krishna do for them, to the people who don't want anything from Krishna?
He gives
Krishna
himself.
gives everything.
Sorry?
Krishna gives everything to them.
That's true. That's true. He gives himself, but beyond that, he says, but still, I can't give enough because you already done that and more. So therefore, let your own bhakti, your own service be your reward. I got nothing. And he apologizes. The point here being is that's how pure the gopis' love is. This is how great the gopis' love is.
So Prabhu, that's just like when Hanuman comes back after meeting Mother Sita. He comes back to Ram and he says, I've seen Mother Sita. And then Ram has to give him something, right? So then he says, I have nothing to give you, right?
Correct.
And all he says, calls him and gives him a big hug. Like he gives himself to him, like he sells himself to Hanuman. So I was just reminded of that. Thank you, Prabhu.
That's absolutely right. So it does give rise also to the indebtedness that the Lord feels for his devotee. There's a related story that when Vibhishan came to surrender to Lord Ram, Lord Ram asked everybody, so what should I do? And practically everybody said, kill him. And the reason was that he's Ravan's brother. He can be very different from Ravan. So there must be some kind of a trick he wants to play. Therefore, kill him. Don't trust him. So Ram was not very happy with that. And he asked Hanumanji, so what should we do? And Hanumanji said that anybody who has taken the shelter of lotus feet has to be protected. That's your nature, my lord. Lord Ram said, yes, you're right. And then Lord Ram added, he said to Vibhishan, I accept you in my shelter and I'll give you the kingdom of Lanka.
Yep.
So people said, wait a minute, you can't do that. Ravan is still alive. Still got the kingdom of Lanka. How can you give it to Vibhishan? He said, if Ravan wants something, then I'll give him the kingdom of Ayodhya. But I'll still give kingdom of Lanka to Vibhishan. Then somebody said, wait a minute, you can't do that. He gave it to Bharat. He's now ruling Ayodhya. How can you give it to him, to Ravan? And he said, if Bharat wants, I'll give him the kingdom of Vaikuntha and still give Ayodhya to Ravan. And they said, well, wait a minute, if you give Vaikuntha to Bharat, where will you live? But that's your abode. And he said, I would live with the heart of Hanumanji.
Oh my God.
That is the indebtedness the Lord feels about his pure devotee. I'll give up everything. I just live in his heart, I'll be happy. Okay? That's the significance of pure love. And gopis were way higher than Hanumanji. So you can imagine how pure that must have been.
You know, it's amazing, the pure devotees, they understand the Lord so completely.
Yes. Yes. Why? Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Krishna says, I reveal myself to the devotees. It's so pure than 100% revelation. So therefore they know. Somewhere I read, I don't remember where it said Radharani understood Krishna better than Krishna understood himself. And a lot of times in the mundane world, we hear wives say, I know you better than you. And they're right. Sorry, Gopal Prabhu, but that's the truth. And so they do. It is amazing. So that's what it is.
I have a question.
Okay.
Everything is like predetermined and, nothing happens without the will of the Lord. So does the Lord know what a pure devotee is going to do?
But the Lord knows everything. Right?
So he knows what the pure devotee is going to do too.
He knows, but he doesn't interfere. He still waits for him to do it.
Okay.
Right? I mean, did Krishna not know I'm going to be bound today? Sure he did. It was all planned. Even Narad Muni had predicted that. Not only Krishna knew, Narad Muni knew.
Yes, he cursed them.
Yeah, the whole thing happened, right? Thousands of years before Namada Lila.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, I mean, of course he knows. Okay, 181.
Prabhuji,
Yes.
sorry, Prabhu.
No, Mataji,
I'm
go ahead.
having a hard time understanding this line. Your connection with me is beyond reproach.
Yes.
So, Krishna is saying that your relationship with me is because you said reproach means disapproval.
Disapproval or disappointment.
Also, Prabhuji, I think as per the dictionary, beyond reproach or above reproach is also an idiom which means faultless.
Yes, yes. That's correct.
Like some people might say, what they did is wrong because, they didn't follow these customs and this. And he's like, no, their connection is so pure that nobody can say that there was anything tainted or, wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, which in a previous verse, same thing was said. It's like a pure white linen is completely washed. Same thing.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Sure, welcome. Okay, 181. तबे जे देखिए गोपीर निज देह प्रीत से हो तो कृष्णेर लागी जानी ही निश्चित. Now, whatever affection we see the gopis show for their own bodies, know it for certain to be only for the sake of Lord Krishna. How beautiful is that? I'm going to read this again. Whatever affection we see the gopis show for their own bodies, know it for certain to be only for the sake of Lord Krishna. This is the purport, and we'll explain this. Who wants to read the purport?
I'll read, Prabhu.
Mataji, please go
Purport.
ahead. Yes, please go ahead.
The selfless love of Godhead exhibited by the gopis cannot have any parallel. We should not, therefore, misunderstand the carefulness of the gopis in their personal decoration. The gopis dressed themselves as beautifully as possible just to make Krishna happy. By seeing them, they had no ulterior desire. They dedicated their bodies and everything they possessed to the service of Sri Krishna, taking it for granted that their bodies were meant for his enjoyment. They dressed themselves with the understanding that Krishna would be happy by seeing and touching them. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. How beautiful is that? So, once again, the same philosophy of everything for Krishna. So they want to look beautiful. So Krishna would like that. They want to wear perfume. They want to wear jewelry. They want to wear nice, gopi dress or sari or whatever. So Krishna would enjoy that, seeing them. They clean themselves, so Krishna would love touching them, so on and so forth. It's all about Krishna. But let me tell you something very interesting. I heard somewhere. Women in the material world, they wear nice dress and jewelry. For what reason?
To feel themselves, to feel happy and to show others.
Okay, so to basically to look more beautiful because jewelry enhances their beauty.
Yeah.
Right? Krishna wears jewelry for what reason?
To appease Radharani.
Okay.
To everyone.
Okay. I was thinking more along the lines of the jewelry looks more beautiful on the body of Krishna. So the jewelry is glorified when Krishna wears it. Okay. So women or men in the material world wear jewelry, etc., to look more beautiful, more attractive. Krishna wears it to make the jewelry look more attractive. I should say to make it, but jewelry looks more attractive on Krishna. Why does Radharani wear jewelry? And the answer to please Krishna is not correct. Or not
Where's
the
the Jew?
Hmm?
I thought she would wear what her Sakhis would put on her.
No, that's true.
Because the Sakhis would know this would look good on her and would
That is
make
true.
Krishna happy.
Okay, that's also true, but there's another reason. What used to happen was every time Krishna saw Radharani, she's so beautiful, he fainted. So he goes, oh, Radha, fainted. So Radharani would wear jewelry to hide her beauty. So at least Krishna can tolerate the beauty and not faint.
Wow.
What a beautiful reason.
Yeah, can you imagine that? So, I mean, we
It's
can't even imagine
so
that beauty. We cannot even imagine that beauty. So somebody said, you take the most beautiful woman on earth. The heavenly damsels, the apsaras, are a million times more beautiful than the most beautiful woman on earth. The Lakshmis are a million times more beautiful than any apsara. Gopis are a million times more beautiful than any Lakshmi.
Yep.
And Radharani is a million times more beautiful than any Gopi. Now you try to imagine how beautiful Radharani is. So not surprising that even Krishna faints. So she wears jewelry to hide some of her beauty. So, I mean, like, we can't even imagine those kind of things. We just have to take it for granted. It says in the scripture, so it must be true. Right?
That's beautiful.
Thank you. Okay, so let's do 182. Eide Kailu Ami Krishna Samarpan Tar Dhan Tar Iha Sambhog Sadhan. Look at the thought process. The gopis think, I have offered this body to Lord Krishna. He is its owner, and it brings him enjoyment. Just imagine, this body is not mine, belongs to Krishna. And the purpose of this body is for Krishna to enjoy. Unbelievable thought process. And this is not like, saying for the sake of saying and feeling it one day, 1 minute in the whole life. This is all the time. All the time. That's the purpose of their life, to please Krishna. Okay, 183. It goes on. Edde darshan sparshe Krishna santoshan. Ei lagi kare deher majan bhushan. Krishna finds joy in seeing and touching this body. It is for this reason that they cleanse and decorate their bodies. They're putting jewelry on, putting the dress on, taking a nice bath, perfume and everything, just to please Krishna. $184. Nijangam apiva gopyo mameti samupasate taphyam param na me partha nigudh prema bhajanam. O Arjun, there are no greater receptacles of deep love for me than the gopis. Now Krishna is acknowledging this, who cleanse and decorate their bodies because they consider them mine. This is from Adi Puran. Krishna is telling Arjun, there's no other place of deeper love for me than the gopis. Because they cleanse their body, they decorate their bodies simply because they consider that body to be mine. And they want to please me. They want to give me joy. They want to give me pleasure. 185. और एक अद्भुत गोपी भावेर स्वभाव बुद्धिर गोचरण है जहार प्रभाव. Is another wonderful feature of the emotion of the gopis. Its power is beyond the comprehension of the intelligence. These things we cannot understand by our intelligence. They are achintya, cannot be conceived, perceived by our intelligence. So how do you get that? 186. Gopi gan kare jabe Krishna darshan sukhvancha nahi sukh hoy kutugo. When the gopis see Lord Krishna, they derive unbounded bliss. although they have no desire for such pleasure. Now let's understand this. I don't want pleasure, but I get pleasure by seeing you. I don't want it. It just comes to me automatically because I'm seeing you. And then what happens? 187. Gopika darshane Krishner je anand hoy, taha hoite koti guna gopi aswadhay. The gopis taste a pleasure 10 million times greater than the pleasure Lord Krishna derives from seeing them. So here the gopis try to give Krishna the pleasure, but automatically they're getting pleasure 10 million times more than Krishna's pleasure. How does that work? It's because they don't want it. If they were doing it for their pleasure, they will not get that pleasure. But they're doing it for Krishna's pleasure, so Krishna is reciprocating by giving them 10 million times more pleasure. That's how they're getting it. The wonderful characteristics of the gopis are beyond imagination. They have no desire for personal satisfaction. Yet, when Krishna is happy by seeing them, the happiness of Krishna makes the gopis a million times more happy than Krishna himself. Why? Because what's the desire? The desire is to make Krishna happy. So that's what makes them happy. They see Krishna happy, they become happy. But by Krishna's mercy, they become 10 million times more happy than Krishna himself. Okay? 188. Tasa bar nahi nij sukha anurodh, tathapi badhai sukha padile virodh. Here's the contradiction. The gopis have no inclination for their own enjoyment, and yet their joy increases. That's the contradiction. They don't want it, but they get it. Because Krishna is giving it. 189. How do you understand this contradiction? A virodher ekmatra dekhi samadhan, gopikar sukha krishna sukhe paryavasan. For this contradiction, I see only one solution. The joy of the gopis lies in the joy of their beloved Krishna. And that's how I've been trying to explain. Their joy is coming from the joy of Krishna. So if Krishna is happy, they are happy. But Krishna makes sure that their joy is 10 million times more than his own joy. Okay? Purport. Somebody wants to read the purport?
I can read it, Prabhuji.
Please go ahead. Balabhari, Prabhu.
The situation of the gopis is perplexing, for although they did not want personal happiness, it was imposed upon them. The solution to this perplexity is that Sri Krishna's sense of happiness is limited by the happiness of the gopis. Devotees at Vrindavan therefore try to serve the gopis, namely Radharani and her associates. If one gains the favor of the gopis, he easily gains the favor of Krishna, because on the recommendation of the gopis, Krishna at once accepts the service of a devotee. Lord Chaitanya therefore wanted to please the gopis instead of Krishna, but his contemporaries misunderstood him, and for this reason, Lord Chaitanya renounced the order of householder life and became a sannyasi.
Wonderful explanation. So, how much joy Krishna is getting is limited by the joy of the gopis. Okay, so what does that mean? It means when Krishna gives the gopis 10 million times more his own joy also increases. And that is the competition we talked about a couple of weeks ago between Radharani and Krishna. Radharani's pleasure increases by seeing Krishna happy. By seeing Radharani happy, Krishna becomes more happy. By seeing Krishna more happy, Radharani becomes more happy. The competition starts. There's never any competition. And the beauty of that competition is that infinity is increasing. By definition, infinity cannot increase. But here, infinity is increasing. When there's no room for increasing, it increases. And it keeps on increasing. Okay? So in Vrindavan, therefore, the devotees are serving Radharani. If Radharani pulls us by the ear and throws it at the lotus feet of Krishna and says, please accept him. They say, okay, I can't say no now. And he accepts. This is why we worship Radha and Krishna together. Radha comes first, Krishna comes second. Radha, Krishna, not Krishna, Radha. Nobody says, Shichor Gopinath Radha. Right? Radha, Shichor Gopinath. Nobody says, Madan Mohan Radha. It's Radha Madan Mohan. Right? Radha comes first. Or Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So we try to please Radha Rani in order to please Krishna. Okay. So this is why says Lord Chaitanya therefore wanted to please the gopis instead of Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya would go around crying, Gopi, Gopi, Gopi. And people would criticize him. What is this nonsense? Why take the name of the gopis? If you want to serve Krishna, then say Krishna. They didn't understand what Chaitanya is getting at. So they criticize him for doing Gopi, 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 or Lalita, 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 Vishakha, Vishakha, Vishakha. And that's one of the reasons why Lord Chaitanya took sannyas. At least the criticism will stop. Okay. 190.
Prabhuji,
Sorry, go ahead.
can I ask you one question?
Please go ahead.
Prabhuji, like if someone is getting its favorite thing, take an example, if child loves ice cream and he likes chocolate and other thing as well, but we offer child a chocolate and ice cream, he will grab the ice cream first because that's the most favorite thing. He will not look at the chocolates and other sweets. So Krishna is getting the love of gopis, which is the purest of pure. Why would he look at me, my love, which is even it's not love, it's full of demands and it's full of mixtures and everything. Why would he look at me even when he's getting the pure love?
Yeah.
What's the condition?
Yeah, sure. No, that's very good question. So child is limited. Krishna is unlimited. Therefore, he can look at the pure as well as the impure and take whatever purity is in the impure. And that is why 411 exists. So whatever the degree of your purity is, I'll reciprocate accordingly. But he's able to look at everything. He is even able to look at the most fallen, most sinful person.
Yep.
He's infinite. He's not limited by anything. His vision is unlimited. He's even able to see the insects. You know, when Gajendra offers a prayer, he's able to hear it. While at the same time, all the people in the Vaikuntha offering their prayers. So that's where Krishna is unlimited, blood vision unlimited. So they can do it. You and I cannot do that. Our children cannot do that.
Yeah, that I agree. But why will he do it? Like, what's the
Because he's
condition?
merciful. No, there's no condition. He says, Nij guna daya kari. It's nature of Krishna to be merciful. He can't help it. Actually, he's, you know, Hindi में कहते हैं मजबूर है. अपने nature से मजबूर है. He's merciful, he can't help it. He gives mercy anyway. Lord Chaitanya gave mercy to, or Nityananda, I should say, can give mercy to Degai Madhai. What better example can we ask for? Kazi was given mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Right? Dhobi, all the demons are given mercy by the Lord, even though they are who they are. They try to hurt Krishna, but he's still giving him mercy. It's nature. He can't help it. Putana comes to kill him and he gives his mother position. That's his mercy. He can't help it.
Why he is not giving mercy to now people
I'm sorry?
in this yoga?
Say again?
Why he is not being merciful? Why he is not being merciful now to the people, like people who are drug addicts and all those? Why he is not being merciful to them?
What is your definition of mercy?
I don't know. He
Well,
was merciful to Jagai Madai.
Let me tell you.
Maybe the mercy is that they are still alive,
Well, no, it's much more than that.
but they are homeless. They are wandering here and there.
So once again, what is the definition of mercy? You're saying, give me big house, give me car, that's mercy. Well, is it mercy really?
No.
Sorry?
No, not at all.
Well, then what is
But
the
it
definition
is,
of mercy? No, answer
it
my
is
question.
also Bhagwan's mercy as well. If somebody is asking for that and he's giving, that is also a mercy.
Well, mercy cannot be forced. You cannot force Krishna to give you mercy the way you define it. You can't say, Krishna, I've given him 5 rupees ka bhog, so give me $50 million. You can't force him. That's his desire. He's free. He's completely free to do as he pleases. You can't force him. Mercy doesn't mean you can force him to give you mercy. Again, what's the definition of mercy? He gave you 2 eyes, 2 hands, 2 feet, stomach, mouth, teeth, tongue. That's his mercy. You can speak. That's his mercy. You can smell. That's his mercy. You can see that's his mercy. So do not ignore his mercy. Right? And it's your free will. You serve him or not. That's just free will. After that, you become under control of Maya and your karmas. So don't blame him. Right? You decide to smoke pot and you blame him for becoming high. You can't do that. He shows you by example, if you do this, this is what will happen. You see people dying of overdose. You still want to do it? Well, what do you want him to do? He comes in the form of parents saying, please don't do it. You say, ignore parents. He comes in the form of police. If you do that, I'll arrest you. You ignore the police. What do you want Krishna to do? There's actually a very famous story about a flood came in a town. And rescuers came to a man in his house that, come with me, we'll take you to safety. I said, no, my Krishna will save me. I said, okay. Then flood came, the water level was rising, so he went to the roof. And somebody came in a helicopter saying, we can lift you up. He said, no, my Krishna will save me. And the flood came, basically, he died. He went to Krishna, complained to Krishna. Why did you come to me when I was saying my Krishna will save me? I was showing so much faith in you. And Krishna said, I did. I came as a fireman to rescue you. I came as a helicopter person to rescue you. You kept refusing my mercy. What do you want to do? So you can't force Krishna.
Yep.
Right? His mercy.
Krishna did not give him the mercy of a knowledge or
No, he gave you all sorts of mercy. You just choose to ignore it. Don't blame him. He's giving you all sorts of mercy. The books are there, the scriptures are there, teachers are there, saints are there, devotees are there, temples are there. All that is mercy. You're not taking it. What can he do?
right.
Like, remember that if a child is sick and the mother wants to give him medicine, he refuses to take it. She forcibly puts it in his mouth and he throws it up. What do you want the mother to do? At some point in time, you say, okay, you're on your own. He gave everything you need, but you're refusing it, rejecting it. Okay, you're on your own then. Right, Usha?
Yes, Prabhu. But I still don't know why he was so merciful to Jagai and Madai.
This is nature. That's what I keep saying. This is nature. There's no other reason. This was called causeless mercy. It's nature. He can't help it. He's just merciful by nature. Okay. All right. So let's stop here. 9:30. I will not read any more verses. So we're stopping at one. So we start 189. We start 189. Okay. Any other questions? Last minute question or anything before we wrap up?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I just
Krishna
had
Prabhu.
one maybe
Yeah, please go ahead.
comment. So whatever we see in this material world is only lust. So I don't think there's anything called love, no Prabhu. It may be with
The closest thing, mother, I can see in the world is a mother's love. Because for most part, it's very selfless. And I was thinking, a little child, say a couple of months old, dirties his diaper and all sorts of mess, very stinky, but mother has no problem picking him up, cleaning him up, right? There's a pastime in Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna and Balaram will catch the tail of a calf and yank it. The calf will become startled and run, and they'll be dragging behind, holding the tail. And Lila was swinging. But in those days, cows were everywhere. So the whole path would be full of cow dung and cow urine. So they'll be all completely, merged in cow dung and cow urine. But at the end of it, they'll be laughing and mother should pick him up, give him a hug. Like he's full of cow dung urine and cow urine. But he'll give him a hug. She'll give him a hug and then go bathe him. That's mother's love. Right? So that's the closest thing I can think of pure love in the material world. Otherwise, you're right. There are some people who are able to give love to the Lord. Yes, of course. But again, they're not that many. For the
Thank you.
most part, doesn't exist. Right? There's some degree of desire for such gratification. Even though, like, you see a lot of very happily married couples, they seem to be a lot in love, but there's still some tinge of selfishness. Right? Sometimes see the example of husband or wife getting very, very sick, and the spouse taking total care of that person until the end of life. So yeah, there's some purity there. There's no question about it. It's not like it's totally absent, but for the most part, it's not there.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Any questions? Okay, then we'll stop here. Thank you so much. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripasindhubhyevcha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavibhyo Namo.
Vaishnavibhyo Namo
Srila
Namah.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Prabhuji.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
everyone.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji. Thank you,
Krishna.
everyone. Hare Krishna.